Greetings and salutations. It is Sunday, October. Wow, October the 10th, 2021. Welcome to the Sunday Night Hang presented by us and you and us, everybody. I'm Ben. Please like and subscribe if you're new or if you're returning and just lazy. Tonight I'm hanging out with one of my favorite friends in the whole YouTuberverse. I think that's a word. Steve from Boston. Welcome back, my friend.
What's up, dude? What's up, dudes?
Man, long overdue, and I could say that next week. Long overdue. And we already got quite the crowd in here already. I'm just going to dip right into some roll call here. We've got Christopher, Hobo, Guitar Man, Bent, Leo, Frank, BC, Sim, Ron, doing it your style, Steve, John, Janice, Magic, Thomas, Randy, Vince, Christopher, Hip, Ron, Randy, Ben. Oh, no, that's me. Other, Mo, Luke's, Magic. There we are.
There you go.
Gary, PJ, others, Lawrence. Yes. So welcome one, welcome all. We're talking gear tonight because why not? We have a tendency to do that on occasion. I know you're gearing up for Halloween, I'm sure.
Look at you with the gearing up pun. I am. It's it's been a little tough. It's a little tricky. It's been very mild. It's not very Halloweeny.
True.
So I don't really have a lot of good. Everything's green. Our colors haven't even turned yet. It's really late because it's been so warm. So I'm hoping maybe in another week things will look a little bit more fallish. And I can start to. Yeah,
I can agree. Exactly. It was funny. I was driving my sister to work the last couple of days, and it was literally Thursday. It looked like summer, and because she's just another 10 miles north of me, the trees around her place were starting to turn Friday. Because I was like, "This didn't look like this yesterday, did it?" She's like, "No, it looked like summer yesterday, and now it looks like fall."
Yeah, and we're going to have a really mild week. This whole week is going to be like, lows in the mid 50s. We're not getting into the 40s or the 30s. It's like we just cannot break below like 10 degrees Celsius. It's like we're 12, 14, 15. It's for lows, for the friggin' low. It's like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. It's October, and why is it 68, 70 degrees out in the afternoon?
We're going to hit almost 80 next week. We have 2 days that could hit 80.
Wow.
Which is that's late. October. Usually by now we're much have hit like into a more of a fall pattern, but we are still stuck. Usually it comes in like middle of the end of September. We're way late on it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
They say the pattern changes in about another week. And then it should feel much more fall-like. But it's not there yet.
Yeah. True.
Feels more like
Aaron from Elvis. John, happy Thanksgiving. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to all my fellow knuckleheads here watching and in the chat. And watching on replay even. Maybe while eating turkey tomorrow. I don't know. It's quite possible and plausible.
Hey, hold on 1 second here.
Sure.
Come on.
Dana, New Jersey. Ian.
There we go. I just had to move this. Yeah, that's much better. A little box out of the way over there.
I get it. Hashtag YouTube life.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got everybody in here.
Oh, yeah. We got 55 people in here at the moment. Awesome. Please leave a thumbs up. Hey, Simon Hosford. Forgot to say hi to Simon. He knows how to play all the notes on the fretboard.
Must be nice.
I allow a few more people to jump in before we get to the teaser that you had dropped last night on your channel. Where was I when
the clam disappeared?
Gretsch was taken. Ironically enough, I watched a news report on that last night after you had wrapped up. And I thought it was interesting. The Japanese rock star is like, oh, like never mentions once that it was stolen. It's just like, I didn't realize it was such an iconic guitar, and I'd be happy to give it back to him for another 1957 Gretsch, which they only made 400 of in 1957.
Huh.
Yeah. But, really? Oh.
We got Terry in here.
Randy's like, I got one. So don't worry. I'll bring it over to Japan. We'll trade. We'll do a show together, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, Randy. So when was it stolen? What
1976, I believe.
All these years later, huh?
Mm-hmm. Imagine it winds up in Japan.
Well, there was a lot of purchasing out of Japan in the 80s. In fact, it got to be a thing where people were reluctant to sell to people in Japan because so many guitars, because they were just outbidding everybody. There was a huge push for like Americana,
right?
And Strats and Les Pauls, sort of, and Harley Davidsons, quite frankly. Right? There was like a lot of those big push for a lot of things like quote unquote Americana.
Right.
And the prices of vintage instruments like shot through the roof. But then that all it was really sort of artificially high for a while, and then it sort of died out at the end of the 80s.
Right.
In fact, I remember Paul Stanley saying he took kind of a bath on a bunch of vintage investments because he got in way too late. But I'm sure in the long run it worked out for him, but in the short term it didn't.
Right. Exactly. Let's see. Hobo Roadie says, I got outbid on a pair of EVM 10M speakers today. My puny $1,338 offer was crushed by the winning $2,650 bid. Tone is not cheap.
Yeah.
Guess not.
Yeah, I've noticed like in the synth market, because I've been following that a lot lately, everybody's up. There was Motorola Electronics just had a huge increase, and that is absolutely, from what I can see, at least right now, from just this past week, and it's all happened very quickly. Used prices have ticked up, so the same synth that was $50 or $100 cheaper is now up like $50 or $100 from even just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because the new one is up $200 or $250, and it's just and that market is very volatile. That thing moves very quickly. The one thing I've learned about looking at synths is it's like here today, gone later today. It's even much worse than the guitar market.
Right.
It's like if there's a hot synth out there and one shows up on Guitar Center, on Reverb, whatever, boom, gone. Right. It's like just out the door. Maybe not so much on Reverb because people ask crazy money, but as long as it's decent, price, it sells very, very quickly. And I tell you, there's been some low prices lately, and I've been like tempted to buy, but I'm like, oh, you already have plenty. You don't, it's like, don't just buy it for the sake of buying it, But now the prices have gone up. Boy, it feels like
that would have been investing.
If I don't buy one now, I'm missing out on the lag, right? Because the used prices are starting to catch up big time.
Sure.
Like Motorola Electronics went from like $799 to like $950. It was a pretty sizable increase, in the cost of the synth. So when it was used and it was $749, it was like, oh, it's only $50 off. By just the miracle of the new price jumping up, now it's $200 off new.
Right.
So now what seemed like just sort of an okay deal, $50 off, that's no discount. Now it's $200 off. It's like,
Well, yeah.
I've
noticed a variety of things creeping up here and there, and
yeah, and the same thing with Les Pauls, right? So I noticed that like the Les Paul Classic just went from $19.99 to $22.99, right? So $300 on on a 2000 is like, it's like 12 or 13%, maybe 14%. It's like 13%, somewhere around there.
Sure.
So it's not a huge increase, but the Les Paul Standard only went up 8%, right? It went from $24.99 to $26.99. And remember, I think they were $26.99 a couple of years ago. They actually lowered their price a couple of $100
Right.
when they came out of their bankruptcy.
I remember that
organization. Yeah,
they did that there. Not so much here. Not so much here.
So I'm sure. Right. I know. I keep forgetting that, you guys.
And I remember there was a handful of models too that they just built a ton of and blew them out. And I was just like, I get it. Fill a market.
So it's sort of interesting. But now I'm seeing the creep. Like, I paid $14.99. Actually, no, I paid a little. I paid like $15.19 for my Les Paul Classic. Right. And it showed up without a case. I was like, it said it was with a case. I actually had to call them up. They're like, we just totally forgot. We'll overnight it. And it was the case is in a better condition than the freaking guitar. The guitar had a couple of scratches on it. The case is dead mint. It's like unbelievable.
Nice.
I don't see that price anymore. Now I'm seeing the used ones more like $15.99, $16.99 because the new price is up. Right, everything's just creeping up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I am hoping that maybe after the pandemic sort of levels out a little bit, and there's a little, because I think still like outdoor activity and concerts and stuff, things that take people's attention away from things like guitar, they're not quite back to 100% yet, not even close. So I think once that comes back fully, then you might see a flooded used market as people just turn their interest to something else.
Exactly.
Like whatever.
One can hope, as someone who likes to comb the used market, as we do. Yeah, they would like to see a nice little glut there for a while, because I know here it's weird because Fender's price has been creeping up just as much as Gibson, if not at a faster rate, and especially because. But wait, we'll give you more. So like an Ultra Luxe, your top line Strat, well, you can get a Les Paul for the same price.
Right.
If
they had an across the board increase, but they just did it like I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago. They just did it before everybody else.
Yeah.
They were ahead of the game. And they're kind of like Apple in that once they raise prices, it signals to the rest of the industry that it's okay for them to raise prices.
Right.
So I think the Players Strat went from $699 to $799. I think the Ventera went from like $899 or $850 up to like $950. Right, everything took a little bit of an increase.
Like here, it got to the point where your upper end, the Ventera, like the '60s worn Ventera, was only $100 retail less than an American Performer.
Right.
Because American Performer Strat, I think, was only around 1,600 Canadian, and the Venturas were in the 14 range. And I was like, so what extra am I getting for the extra 150 with the American Performer that I'm not getting with the Ventura?
Well, you're getting all that American goodness. You're getting somebody who might have been a little drunk from the weekend. No. Well, certainly, I think the one thing you would get for that a little bit of extra money would be resale value. I think the Americans will probably resell a little faster than the made in Mexico. And then the made in Mexico use they won't use rosewood, will they? They use all the alternative.
Right. I think they're just straight Palfaro these days.
Yeah, right. So if you're a traditionalist and you want like rosewood,
right,
or ebony, I think you got to go with the American stuff. I don't think you're getting that out of
I'm not sure.
I don't think any of them are. I'm trying to think of like the classic series, but no, the Ventera is the new classic, right? Range. Yeah, their new kind of like vintage line, and I think it's Palfaro.
It might be. I can't remember. Yeah. And the same as the new Player Plus. I don't know. And interesting enough, the new Player Plus, I'm 99% sure has Evo frets, yet no documentation on it, because I shot a demo I don't know, 3 days before they were coming out, I just happened to be in Buddy's store. He's like, hey. I'm like, hey. And he's like, but you can't. I'm like, yep, not a problem. And I actually screw up in the demo, and I start talking about it because I'm looking at the frets, and they look almost brass. Especially the ends look brass, and they had an iridescent polish across the top. And I'm just like, all right, this is tripping me out. I'm like, no, it's not the lights. Like, what's going on? And I could find zero documentation. They couldn't find anything in the store database. And then once they came out, still can't find any information on it. And I think you should be marketing this.
Well, you were saying it had like iridescent colors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you smoke anything right before you went in there?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah. That was a good hour before. And not all the other guitars looked the same. It was only the player part. Yeah, that was that green jade sparkle one that they did. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Green, you say?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Not quite a dank green, but
not quite a dank green.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an Indo. It's like a good Indo green.
Yeah.
I think I saw Buzz Wilson in the chat. Hello, Buzz.
Yeah. What's up, Buzz? Dave Ennis, Dogba, Anthony, my cousin Doug. Sorry, he'll freak out if I'll be getting text messages. Why aren't you saying hi to me? I say hi to you every Tuesday when we host our NASCAR podcast.
You don't say hello?
Yeah. Yes, and thank you, Tom. In case you live under a rock, Steve's channel in the chat.
Hello.
Just saying. He's live every Saturday. It's become a bit of a thing.
Nice.
Ritual even, if you will. I kind of bookend my days with, RJ in the morning and you in the evening.
Sure. Although RJ wasn't on yesterday, was he? Did I miss him?
No, he's taking 2 weeks off for some reason.
Well, I don't like the sound of that one bit.
I know. Although we did go to the Stones concert, so that could be...
Yeah, that could have been it. He was probably preparing for that.
Yeah. Either recovering after or preparing for. I don't know. Hey, Brian from Oregon. Good to see Brian in here. It was funny. I was shamelessly promoting, as I do in your chat, in Pete Thorne's chat. By the way, Pete Thorne coming on and co-hosting tomorrow night's show. Just saying.
Oh, nice.
And a guy in the chat, Pete's like, yeah, I'll be on with Ben tomorrow, much like you did last night. And the guy went, Ben Coombs, like RJ Ronquillo's Ben Coombs? I was just like, sure, let's go with that.
Sure. You're part of the
John
harem.
said he likes the You Up videos because being in Australia, that's mid-afternoon for him. Yeah, I generally miss those. I'm asleep when you're still up. I'm asleep.
Well, my late night one is pretty late.
Yes,
that's the late one. I didn't do one last night though. I was beat. I had spent the day before building most of that wall, and yesterday putting up most of the cedar, and which looks good. Smells great down here.
I like it.
Notice it. Love the smell of that cedar wall. Damn, but it fades.
Yeah,
it fades because I had one strip left on the other side, and the new stuff wasn't the same color. It's nice and bright. The old stuff looks definitely faded. I went out into the garage and I found I had 3 strips left of the faded, and it's slightly at an angle, so you have to cut it on a rip saw. I have a table saw. You have to cut it just at the right angle. But I got it, and I got it in there. But what a difference! That old stock from, I want to say earlier in the year. I think I did it last winter, and the brand new fresh stock, which is just, whew, that's some cedar. That's some cedar wood we got going there.
Tom says you need the cedar spray.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we used to we had a pet store. They'd have they would mix in kind of pine with cedar,
right,
for the hamsters and the gerbils. They're sort of like bedding.
Billy Baloney says, got a new pedal yesterday. Any guesses?
The Dank Side by Keeley? That's pretty limited edition.
One of my signature pedals, because I think they were shipping out this week, which there are some still available, folks, if you're interested.
Guitar Man says, so I could make you stream yesterday. Took the family to Halloween Kids in Ohio. Well, there you go. That's the only excuse, going to that Halloween Weekends show. That's acceptable. That's the only one, though. Did the Sox lose yet? They looked like they were doing. they were winning.
No.
Until they weren't. Nope. Top of the 11th, still tied.
Well, there we are. Did he say?
Tom says he has the Dank Side. It's a great pedal. Yeah, it's pretty much the dark side, but cooler.
Yes. Dankier.
Dankier.
That's tone smell.
Yeah, it is. It's tone smell. So you got to get that whole area sort of done. What I'm finding out is that I can buy, like, I want to build like a little table, and you can just buy tabletops independently.
Sure.
So I can make a nice little custom table. I need just the right size, and that's a lot easier than going to Home Depot and buying like a piece of 3/4 inch medium density fiberboard and trying to get it home and then trying to cut it up on my table saw without killing myself.
Well, that's all. Yeah.
We'll see. It's a lot more money though. It's like triple the money to have one,
right?
Pre-made, but it might be worth it.
Something Metalhead Hippie. Fretlow Midnight's here. Well, see, now Billy does say the pedal came from Arizona, so I'm thinking it's an LPD pedal of some kind.
No.
Doug asks, does Steve know our family connection to the Sox? Probably not.
I do not.
Our uncle was scouted heavily to be a pitcher for the Sox in the 50s, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got to the point where the upper amateur, he threw several no-hitters. So they were really interested. And then he kind of, one of those, the coach kind of made him throw his arm out, getting them to provincial championships and all that fun stuff. Oh, you threw a no-hitter yesterday. You might as well pitch again today.
Yeah. I remember, it's looking back, it's just kind of stunning. But I remember, I forget if I was 10 or if I was 11. Might have been 11. It might have been 10. Like myself and this older kid who was like literally, so I think I was 10 and he was like 12 or 13, or I was 11 and he was like 12 or 13. And we lived in Boston. We lived in the city. And we lived pretty close to a bus line. You could go up and take the bus and go right into the city if you needed to. And I remember like him saying like, oh, I'm going to take my piano lesson on Saturday in Back Bay. And then I have tickets to the Red Sox if you want to go. And I remember asking my parents, like, can I go? And my mother saying like riding the bus by yourself to like the Orange Line, which is actually pretty bad area, right? And goes to even a worse area before it gets into the city. And she was, at first she was like, no. And then I remember my dad saying like, oh, sure. We used to go when I was like 8, 9 years old all the time. We go right down and take the bus and, all this stuff. And so I remember going and sitting outside while he took his stupid piano lesson and then going over and watching the Red Sox and like just looking back at how young we were, taking that bus by ourselves, taking that train by ourselves. That's pretty crazy, especially in the 70s. Like probably pretty dangerous.
Yeah. 50s and the 60s, it was more okay. By the 70s, yeah. So yes, Doug says he threw back-to-back perfect games his last time out. Our uncle did.
Wow.
Yeah, I do remember one time, like this is on Cape Breton Island, and the Montreal Canadiens would come through in the summertime, and they'd play baseball games against the local baseball teams, right? for charity or whatever. And he no-hit the Montreal Canadiens, and that really pissed off some people. But then again, the hometown boys too were like, "That's our guy." So, and Milt was saying, yes, Steve does have a guitar very much like mine. Your Epiphone Les Paul over your shoulder, a fine guitar.
Very nice guitar. Really love that guitar. It's a little heavy. It's 9.98 pounds, so I can pretty much call it 10 pounds. But it sounds great. I love it. I love that guitar.
It does. And there's my lovely sister Amanda. Hey, sis.
Oh, Amanda.
Max Josephson's here. My niece heard us. How many times have you seen Aerosmith?
Actually, Aerosmith, I knew some dudes who went to the show where Steve Tyler like passed out on stage and like a near riot happened. It's like there weren't too many songs in. He like took a breath and just like was out. Like they pretty much dragged him off the stage out like a light. And so I remember them not being a particularly good band. Like when I was 14. In fact, Joe Perry had left the band and started the Joe Perry Project.
Right.
And when they finally came back around again, I don't think I ever went to see them, but I did finally get to see them at a very large outdoor show at Foxborough Stadium. And that was a crazy day for a lot of reasons. But my wife was a reporter and I was there as the photographer.
Oh, yes.
For a local newspaper. And Aerosmith played. They sounded great. I thought they had a lot of energy. I want to say the opening act was Elton John. Or it might have been Melissa Etheridge. And then Elton John. And then like Sting. And then Aerosmith played. And then I think it was finally Don Henley was the headliner, and he had a special guest come out, and it was like Jimmy Buffett, which pretty much drove us out of there. When Buffett broke into like, Cheeseburger in Paradise, we were like, it had been a long day. We had been there since the morning, but
right.
But I remember they came out and I remember they sounded really good. And I thought Steven Tyler, I was like, wow, he sounds and they had so much energy and they ran through a bunch of tunes. I was like, wow, Aerosmith is really killing it.
Right.
And I got to think that this is, I forget, is it early 90s? I don't even remember. 94? Something like that.
Ooh, got a super chat here. Thank you very much, Buzz. Any thoughts on Gretsch's G5230s? Want the Gretsch tone in the collection, but not enough to pay the made in Japan price. Well,
you might know more than me because I don't know a ton about Gretsch.
Oh, well, we just happen to have one right here.
Wow. Well,
they're cool. Some people will say the pickups sound a touch dark, but hey, for the extra little money, you can get another Broadtron, Broadcaster, some kind of broad pickup, TV Jones, if you will, in there. Maybe some gold foils. But I definitely recommend this series. I do like the Pro over the Standard because the Pro gives you that cool V tailpiece and the master volume. Which I noticed watching the thing on Randy Bachman last night. He's doing volume swells that you would normally do on a Tele, except he's playing with a thumb pick and doing volume swells with the master volume on a Gretsch up here. And I was just like, that is interesting. Okay. I've never seen that done before, but yeah.
It looks great. I like the blue color.
Yeah, this was a limited edition that year, a Fairlane Blue.
Fairlane is in Ford Fairlane?
As in Ford Fairlane. And of course, the nice thing is they paint everything. And they're chambered, so it's nice and light.
God, Dice, is there anything you can't do?
Yeah, I see we have the one and only
Ford Fairlane.
Yeah. I just remember I had to see that as a younger, early teens, when just in the movie preview, he's like, what do you, Neil and Bob, or is that what you do? And I'm just like, I have to see this movie. That is the best gutter humor ever.
I did. Ron's asking if I saw the Lexus Strat. Hold on, I think there's a little. There we go. If I saw the Lexus Strat. I did see the Lexus Strat. It just seems like a paint job. It's kind of a pricey instrument. I thought it was a little expensive for what, like a carbon fiber pickguard? Is that what it is?
I think so. What's up, Sean Pierce Johnson? I'm very much looking forward to our hang as well. Next Sunday, right here.
By here, I mean there.
Yeah, I'll be here. He'll be there. Who else did I see? Oh, there's LPD Pedals himself in the chat. Sir Lawrence of the Pedals. I think there's something else I'm supposed to plug by him too. Oh yeah, he has a new delay coming out at the end of the month.
Oh really?
Yes. A foray into a digital delay.
Ooh, digitale.
With tap tempo, because, tap tempo, why not? I don't know if you can release a digital delay these days without tap tempo, without being shunned by the tone community. Hey, Bobby. Bobby made it.
Bobby's here.
Thoughts on the new Gibson Les Paul Raven? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I don't know about the Les Paul Raven. Not ringing a bell. Hold on, I'm gonna get that. There we go. I think yeah.
Sure, Guitar Man 45. He's going to send a photo over of the Kiesel he's looking at getting.
Oh, nice.
Sure.
I've owned a Carvin, which was made by Kiesel. It was just Carvin branded.
Mm-hmm.
But Kiesel seems to be making some nice stuff lately. That particular one I had, though, the neck was kind of chunky. I was surprised at how large the neck was. It was a beefy neck on it.
My Kiesel rant. For a company that only sells direct, Steve, why do they spend so much money on a NAMM booth that's not open to the public?
I know. That's always been a bit of a mystery.
Yeah. That's why you just have to keep going back to these NAMM shows, because one year we'll find out. All will be revealed. So it's like his Les Paul CM with 2 humbuckers. Charlie did a video. Okay. Let's see. Can I pull up a photo of a Les Paul Raven? I'm sure I could.
Yeah, someone has a good guess that it's all black.
I'm just seeing a lot of pictures of just Les Pauls. I don't really see a difference per se. I see a Raven branded, like at the lawsuit guitar.
Someone should have come out with a guitar brand called Authentic. That way, every time anyone said play Authentic, right, they get a little free advertising.
Exactly.
A Raven, huh? Is it brand new?
Yeah. I'm just seeing older stuff. I I guess I'll try Gibson Les Paul Raven, I guess. I don't know.
Is it part of the modern collection? I don't know.
I'm still not.
It's like we're Google over here.
Yeah.
I'm Googling hard.
Hey, Adam D. Daryl B. Hip Metal Works. ESP does make amazing stuff, Magic Man.
Is it brand new?
Maybe. Unbelievable thought it might have been a Guitar Center exclusive. Okay, and James Mitchell, hello, welcome. He mentions Guitar Center and Musician's Friend exclusive.
Oh yeah, it's an all black guitar, the Raven limited edition, $10.99. It's a special, at least the one I'm seeing. It's not a Les Paul with a carved top. It's a flat top, flat back.
Right.
You know, it's a slab body.
Steve Luther's here.
They say the Rich Light fingerboard with dark gray inlays. Okay. All black mahogany body.
Tom, I don't think you need to be running 2 Soleil fuzzes on one pedal board.
Yeah, it's pretty much black on black on black. Huh. Not my style of guitar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely special.
I don't think I have,
unbelievable.
I don't think I have the right haircut for that one.
I'd have to shave part of my head. But
exactly. You have to shave one side or something.
Yeah. Probably have to wear a lot more eyeliner.
Exactly.
Yeah. And play a lot of depressing music, I bet.
Yeah, a little shoegaze wouldn't kill you, would it?
Yeah. I like playing noisy shoegaze, a la your neck of the world, like some Sebadoh or Dinosaur Jr.
Sure. I've heard of both of those bands.
Well, Jay Maskus from Dinosaur Jr. did get a signature telly out this year. He's had a few signature jazz. See, that's why, Steve, he had a signature jazz master for a decade. That's why you're not familiar with him. Jazz master, big muff, into 3 Marshalls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tone.
You can never be too goth.
Yeah.
Goth. The diet jet black. Everything jet black. And then I'd look like, oh God. Was it Rip Torn? Who was the guy from Men in Black? The old dude. Rip Torn, yeah.
I became a fan of his during the Larry Sanders Show.
No, Ben Tom, it's toe gaze. The correct answer is toe gaze.
Adam D, you can start a petition for me to shave my head, but that would have to take a lot of people. Hey, Cora. BC Rich prefers sandal gazing music for summer. Maybe a nice slingback.
Rip Taylor or Rip Torn? I think it could be 2 different.
That is 2 different people.
2 different people, yeah.
One involved confetti.
One involved confetti. That is true. One involved confetti. I forgot about that.
We have a question here. I'm looking for a cheap guitar with a Floyd Rose. Any ideas? Yes.
Yeah, I tell you, I got the EVH standard. That's
what I was thinking of, that guitar you were playing last night.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guitar. I thought it plays real good. And I think there's probably a half dozen Harley Bentons with the Floyd Rose 1000 on it that are under $500. They're pretty decent.
Yeah.
But that EVH is a good one. I'm trying to think of another brand with a Floyd Rose like 1000.
Yeah,
Maybe
Jackson
JS?
JS32.
Yeah,
I'm sure LPD does something.
JS32. Right. Dude, I could have bought it. You want? I hate to kill you with the prices down here, but sometimes Guitar Center will get so many of a particular guitar that they'll price a couple of them really cheap.
Sure.
And they had the carved top, like flame green I think it was the JS32 for like $199. You know, I think new it's like double that, right? I think it's like $399.
Oh yeah, because here the base model, the JS11, is like $2.25, and that's with basically it's a flat top with a Strat style trim.
Right. Yeah, no.
What did it harken back to the 80s? Because as soon as you use it, how badly it goes out of tune because of the string break on a standard nut on a Jackson headstock. I'm like, wow, it's like high school all over again. I love it.
Yeah.
But
Ibanez, you gotta pay attention because some of them are better than others on that low end in terms of the quality of the Floyd. I think that EVH Floyd is actually a pretty damn good one.
Yeah. I think
the Fender Contemporary Squire has a Floyd. Yeah.
Right.
What's wrong with Harley Benton? Although the name is pretty cringy.
I wonder what the resale value is going to be on them.
I tell you, I sold one a few weeks ago. I threw it up on Reverb. It sold in like 15 minutes. I was like, I probably priced it too low.
Hey, Cushman. Paul Fuchs just scored a MIM Fender Squire Series Telly from Guitar Center for less than most used actual Squires. Okay. Wow. Ron Padgett was never a Kaler fan. I've never owned a Kaler equipped guitar.
I've never owned a Kaler either. The Kaler was that cam system, and it's very smooth, but almost like a little too smooth. Like the one thing about when you work with the Floyd is that as you depress the bar, it's almost like logarithmic because as you lose the tension on the strings pulling you forward, you really the springs really take over, and the bar gets like increasingly more difficult to push down the farther you move from rest. The Kaler kind of wasn't like that. It was kind of this weird cam thing that they did. It's like cam roller. It's very smooth. I just never cared for it. And it had a couple of attachments you could add, like a palm attachment, but it's all kind of gimmicky.
Hey, Fruitcake Tony. Fruitcake Tony that's on every Saturday after Steve from Boston. He does Show Me Your Pick every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
You said pick, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. And he has one of the premier guitar pick collections in the world. It's insane. He's like, try to stump him. He's like, nope, got it. Yeah. It's an addiction for him, but
the Washburn Wonder Bar.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a wonder, all right. It was a wonder that they brought it to market.
Yeah, that's as bad as the Gibson sideways trem thing.
What was that? The Maestro? I forget the name of the sideways one. One of them was straight up and down, but the other one was side to side.
Yeah, there's the Vibrola and the Maestro, I think.
Yeah, the Vibrola and the Maestro. And one of them was a side to side action. Kind of weird. Felt like just gravity could put it out of tune. Right? Move around too much and you move that bar side to side. Yeah.
Tonefish says, I had a Vinnie Vincent pink pick earring.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. That's bold.
Yeah, he had a couple of what was he, Jackson back then, right? And he sort of was the guy who sort of took over the Randy shape, right? Because he doesn't really get out there until like 83, 84, 80.
True.
In 85, he's off on his own thing by 85. But Randy's gone in 82, right? But I'm pretty sure it was that sort of Randy shape, right? The RR shape that he used in those years. You ever see his licks video?
I haven't.
Yeah. It's interesting. He basically just basically like plays what seems to be as fast as possible. And then when he slows it down, it's kind of funny because he's not really even going all that slow. He's like, yeah, just pick this up. Just pick this up. It is nothing. Nothing. There's nothing. Yeah, that's all right. It's kind of funny. It's kind of, that whole thing. It's just him just riffing pretty crazily too. Yeah, like Guitar Friends on, like Bobby said, it's a bad video. It's not. It seems to be him mostly showing off for like a 40 minutes rather than really showing you anything.
Oh, yeah, okay, Mayhem. Yeah, it's that time of year. You know what's good stuff when you're late because you're waiting for the show in the Monday night show feed? Yeah. You clicked on the wrong link is what you're saying. Yep. And I'm doing a road trip with Absolute Mayhem on October 23rd. We're heading up to Toronto to Solo Guitars.
Really?
They sell mostly guitar kits as well as a lot of repair tools, like basically a lot of the same stuff StuMac does. And Dave from Dave's World of Fun Stuff YouTube channel is going to be there from noon to 4, and I'll be there at some point between noon and 4. So I'll just piggyback on his popularity and stuff, and I'll just hand out a bunch of picks with my name on it. Lots of parts, yes. I'm hoping to get some radius blocks. That's my purchase.
Yeah. I have a set I picked up a while ago, but you know what? I don't use them as much as I use the beam. I wind up using the fret beam a lot more, just because I don't know why. I just tend to use the fret beam more than the radius blocks.
Oh, I might get a crowning file too, because I keep borrowing my buddy's crowning file.
I tell you, I have the Z file. It works. I hate how much they charge for it. No file should cost $110. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I can't help but admit that it really does work, and you can rip through a guitar so fast that if you did it for a living, even if you don't do it for a living, you will never do as good a job as the Z file can do. It leaves a perfect thin stripe right down the middle of the fret every single time. You crank a little on one side and a little on the other, and boom, perfectly crowned fret. So again, I hate to admit it because it's a ridiculously overpriced file, but if you were a pro, you'd earn your money back on it so quickly because you can rip through the job so much quicker. And time is money.
What's up, nice guy Eddie? Terry Himes agrees. The Z file plate.
Yeah, it works. The damn thing works. It really does.
I just happen to have the one I use right here. Just your basic StuMac.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, crowning file.
For now. LPD Pedals says snap-on files. Sure.
I had a really nice triangle file, right? Where the ends are smoothed out, so that as you work it, you don't ruin your fretboard. You have your fretboard taped off anyway.
Sure.
But still, you don't want to rip through the. If it wasn't smoothed out, it would rip through the tape at some point if you're really working it. But that's all by hand, and you'll never get it quite right with the Z file. It breaks away that metal down like a perfect friggin' crown every single time you throw a little marker on there and work though.
I still marvel at those guys that will crown with a 3-sided file. There's one guy I watch and he's just like zip. I'm like, how? Like, sure.
It's
Thanks,
too much
Jeffy.
work, and one little mistake over the top, and you're back to square one again.
Exactly. Ben and Steve, thanks for the live stream this evening. You're more than welcome. Appreciate it, Jeff. Lawrence says, I prefer quarter round diamond files personally. I do hemispheric fret ends, and the quarter round makes them a breeze.
Yeah, I do the what do I have for the hemispheric ends? I have the what do they call that? Like easy phrase a name for, I can't think of it. But it's a special thing, and it's really smooth except for the sides. So it glides over. They say you don't even have to tape off, but I think you're crazy, because I think the edge can put a little groove in your fretboard. I would still tape it off, but I did that to ball end a few necks with the frets really hemisphere the ends on them, and it's a little bit of work, but boy, they look good when you're done.
I've got one that it's like 2 safe sides, 2 file sides, fret Google file, and that one I can do fret ends with. And I rarely have to tape off, just because they round it off just the corners just enough that it's all right.
Yeah, Lawrence, Fret Guru, that might be it. It might be Fret Guru. That could be it. Right. The top and the front and the bottom are all very smooth, but the sides are like diamond edge, so you can roll it around, and the bottom.
That was the nice thing about it, because I could just sit there watching TV and just doing fret ends.
Yeah, no, it works, but again, it's work.
As Wilson says, I just do everything Phil McKnight says, even if I don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always an option. Yes, Doug says, Ted Woodford uses the 3-sided file. Yeah, he does amazing stuff. I don't think he put out a video this weekend.
Yeah, I check him out. He does his neck repairs.
Oh, those neck resets?
Yeah, when he does he's got a broken headstock. He had one where not only was the headstock broken, but the heel was broken. I mean, that thing really took a header. I gotta say, he really did get it going. Put the splines in.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell is this guy doing? But those splines make such a huge difference to mechanically tie the 2 pieces in together. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, all the power to him to figure out that method. I hadn't seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen somebody repair a neck using splines.
Yeah, and that definitely seems to be his go-to. And
that's his go-to, for a major headstock repair.
Yeah, and he seems to be getting them all, as he usually talks about that. And it's the time of year, either headstocks or neck resets or.
Yeah,
he's about 3 hours away from me. And I have some work that I need to have done on my Martin. It's a 72 Martin. So it the cellulose pick guards lifting, stuff like that. And I was like, he's the guy, because I could drive the 3 hours, drop the guitar off, and have faith in him. So call me in 2 weeks when it's ready, in a month, whatever it is. Hey, Manfred. House of Twangs here. Terry's 3Gs. So the Z file is 138 Canadian.
Wow.
And that's
it feels like it should be half the money.
Yeah.
I don't think that 110, it's 110 US the last time I checked. 55 feels right. Right. It's a really nice file. $55 for a really high-end nice file feels about right. About $55 or $60. But 110, 120 bucks.
Ron Paget asks, how far is Dave from me? Dave's hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Because he's pretty much right downtown, East End, downtown, Old Toronto. It's funny, as a few people, I don't know if you're familiar with Dave's channel, Steve. He's another Canadian that does repairs, Dave's World of Fun Stuff.
Yeah.
He'll come across as a little curmudgeon-y or crusty at times.
Sure.
But I will say that guy, when we were having issues with my mom last year, anytime we'd comment, headed up to Toronto, he'd text me and he's like, do you need a place to hang out for a few hours while she's at the hospital? Like, my place is wide open. And this is during COVID, and Toronto was really locked down with stuff. He goes,
right.
Can't come in, but we can hang it on my porch. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, he didn't need to do that. So, yeah, and I got to meet him right before COVID. Mayhem and I drove up to Solo. He was there when they first opened that place. And it was like February 2020. And showed up, and he's like, hey, you made it. This is great, blah, blah, blah. And showed me around the place, made sure the owners gave me a discount, the whole shebang. Like I set up a dealer account or something like that. So, but yeah, you save some money. Why not? Jay Steen's here. Good CJ. And Carol Hudden. Hello. Hi, guys from Montreal. Love the channel. Thank you very much.
Doug said he bought one for $100 and one side doesn't seem to cut right. Geez, I wonder if it's a knockoff because I never see them discounted.
Yeah.
Red level says 110 US plus shipping. Yeah, that sounds about right because I think it's like 120 if you buy it from Amazon, and it's 110 plus $10 shipping if you buy it from StewMac. Oh, it's the same money. You save nothing by going to Amazon or StewMac.
Nice. Blackjack guitar. Hey, buddy. Cascade pedal. Got one. Yep. That'd be Lawrence's plate reverb pedal, which is awesome. You can really get your 80s on with it.
And Terry says he finally bought a Z file after trying 4 less expensive files. It ended up being a waste of money. Should have just gotten the Z in the first place. I had wanted to buy one. I couldn't bring myself to buy it. I told a friend of mine about it who needed me to level his fretboard. And he was like, well, how much is, I said, listen, if you want this done right, you're going to have to get a Z file. And he's like, how much is that? I go, a ridiculously expensive item. It's like $110. He says, well, it would cost me a few bucks to get it, to get it done if I brought it to a place. He goes, I'll buy the file, no problem. And then when he picked the guitar up, he was like, I don't need the file. You can just keep it, sort of like his payment for doing the fret.
That's how I got my Fret Guru file, doing fret ends for Absolute Mayhem.
Yeah, and I tell you, the freaking thing works. At least the one I have. It's every time I've done the I did his Ibanez, I did the Kramer, I did my Ovation because the frets on that were so bad. It like improved the frets like 1,000,000%. I did his Pacifica, which had some pretty bad grooving pits on them. I got them all out with the fret beam and then leveled all the frets. Crowned all the frets with the Z file, polished them all up. He couldn't believe it. He's like, dude, this is like a brand new guitar. It really does. It works. If you got to go to, it sounds like one dude had a problem with his, but I've never had a problem. It's perfect every single time. Throw a little marker on the top so you can see what it cuts it away.
Right.
Done. That line down the center is so thin and perfect down the center of that fret. Mm-hmm. There's your little crown.
Yep.
That little apex and everything else is just pulled away from the side of it. It's perfect. And then by the time you're done polishing, they look beautiful. They're nice and round, just like unbelievable.
Sure. What's up, Zach Thong? He's in a turkey coma. Good to hear. Good to hear. I'm going to bake a ham tomorrow because I have a ham here and I don't have a turkey.
It's not Thanksgiving up there, is it? No.
It is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It always surprises me how early it is. I thought it was later in October.
Hey, it surprised me too with this 70-degree weather.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Thanksgiving? What?
Well, we went to Montreal one weekend and we got up there and everybody was dressed up and it was like so weird. I was like, what's going on? He's like, it's Thanksgiving. Like, no, it's not. It's in like 8 weeks.
I think the weirdest was I went into a Lowe's 2 weeks ago, and literally I'm walking down an aisle. Half the aisle is Halloween and Christmas on the other side of the aisle. And I'm like, we haven't even had Thanksgiving yet. Put this stuff away.
Pretty much Costco puts it out right after Labor Day. They put
well, yeah, it was at least a couple of weeks ago now.
I heard there could be a shortage of artificial trees. Just that they come from China, almost all of them, and
Yeah.
They're stuck on a frigging container out in the ocean. They can't get them off the boat. We'll see. We can't have a real tree anymore because the cats are too dangerous.
Right.
You know.
Oh, I get it.
Fire.
We have a very aggressive cat come. Yeah. Especially having hippie parents where instead of a star, we always had a peace dove on the top of the tree.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have
love that.
We have a Santa up there as our master and overlord.
Nice.
Tell us what to buy, Santa.
See, the more you know, Ian. You tuned in for Guitar Talk and you found out an interesting fact about Canada, I guess.
Yeah.
I always figure it's because Thanksgiving is kind of a harvest type celebration, and because we're that much further north, we have to harvest sooner.
Fun fact about Montreal, in the elevators on the walls, they have ashtrays.
Because everybody in Quebec smokes.
Because everybody in Quebec smokes, including in the elevator.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Amazing how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, last year we bought a fake tree, a pre-lit, and
they're the way to go.
And the cats were just brutal. Just, climbing up. We had one cat that was just climbing up, kept knocking it over, climbing up.
I seem to recall a photo or two on a live stream last year.
Yeah. And that's why my wife was like, oh, good thing we didn't get a real tree. I said, oh, we would have a fire. They would have that knocked over, the water, the electricity. Oh, please. What a nightmare.
Fretlow Midnight says, Montreal's not as huge on smoking as it used to be.
Yeah, it was about 20 years ago. I think we went up there in, it was probably 99 or 2000 or 2001, somewhere around there. Yeah, maybe around 2000, somewhere around there.
Oh, yeah, you would not know there was any kind of an anti-smoking initiative.
Yeah.
Because I remember even this area, it was a bit of a holdout. Like, we go to other towns where they'd not only ban smoking in restaurants and bars, but you couldn't even smoke walking down the street. And meanwhile, we're like, we still smoke in bars here.
I didn't go to St. Catharines. I'm trying to think of. We didn't do. I was up there with the last time I went up. I was with my wife, and we stayed in a hotel that was round. I don't know what hotel that is, but it was circular. And they put us up really high, and we were right over the St. Lawrence. Nice. I guess that's the St. Lawrence River right there. They were great view. And I remember we would go down. I think we were across the street from the Hotel Bonaventure, which is where I stayed when I was a kid. And you can go down, and they have that whole underground world. It's so huge, the city under the city. You ever been to Montreal?
I have. I'm trying to think. Hung out there a couple of times, and I remember a handful of times driving friends to Montreal because it's 3.5 hours each way from here. So it's just literally drop them off because you're like, man, I still got another 3.5 hour drive back. So
I think that's about the same. I think it's maybe a 3.5 hour drive for us. Yep. Trying to think of how long that drive was. It wasn't that crazy. Yeah, maybe three or 4 hours. I don't even think it was that long. It wasn't really that, right? Because you go through pretty much Vermont from the bottom to the top, and then it's really not too much farther from the border to get into the city.
No.
Maybe an hour. So maybe a couple hours to get up to the top of Vermont. And then another hour. Yeah, probably about 3 hours. About 4 from Boston. Yeah. That sounds about right.
What's up, JR? Lots of wilderness, BC Rich. Lots of wilderness. I just remember seeing a stat. I was watching a video. It was comparing Canada in the U.S., and it was like 85% of the United States is developed in some way, shape, or form, whether it's agriculture or cities. Canada, 85% is still wilderness.
Right. Yeah, that was sort of a thing when I was in, like, just out of high school or a senior in high school. Kids used to drive up to Montreal and get pickpocketed by hookers. That was pretty much it. Right. They'd go up, they'd get drunk, they'd hook up with a couple of prostitutes, and then find themselves without money.
Yep. That'll do it. I knew a few bands from Montreal because they'd always stop in around, play around here on the way to Toronto. Guitar Man 45 says furthest he ever went was Toronto, so that'd be about a 3-hour drive for him because he's in the Detroit area. And having lived in Windsor for about 6-8 months, there was a brief time I actually lived south of the United States.
Really?
Yeah, because Windsor is on the south side of the Detroit River and Detroit being on the north side.
That's true, right.
Very few places in Canada you can live and be south of.
Although I think Maine is north of quite a bit, right? Northern Maine?
Oh, yeah.
It goes up there.
Well, and that's the thing, like Windsor and Detroit, that's basically the same latitude as Northern California, Southern Oregon. So
Right.
Can you just buy a cabin somewhere and not be bothered? Sure. Yeah.
But then you got to worry about bears.
Yep. You do have to worry about bears.
You do have to worry about bears. We have to worry about bears down here, let alone in Canada.
Yeah. Manfred asks, where has Anvil been lately? Great Canadian band. I can tell you, within the last 2 to 3 weeks, they just wrapped up recording a new album in Germany because their drummer had posted as much on Facebook as he was traveling back from Germany to Toronto. So expect a new album out soon.
Well, there you go.
Just why would you record an album and not release it?
They have quite a few albums, don't they?
A lot.
Yeah.
They never stopped making music.
Who has the record? I got to think it's Buckethead, right?
He's up there.
I swear to God, he released something like, although they probably don't count, but his full records because some of them were only like a half dozen songs or 4 or 5 songs, but he was releasing something like every other day for a while.
I remember for a while Neil Young held the record because he was at like 50 albums by the early 90s.
Yeah. We're getting some super chats here.
Thank you, Metalhead Hippie. Boom! Ben Steve, rock on, dudes. And we have the one and only Boner Jams tuned in for the geography lessons. What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday evening. What time we down tuning guitars and melting faces?
Canada's up here. United States is down here. And that is our geography lesson.
Exactly. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Johnny Rock says, you guys rock. Thanks, Johnny. You rock.
Yeah. Buckethead did over 100 releases a few years ago. I think his parents died, right, in pretty quick succession. Like he lost, I think, his mother or his father, and then his mother, and he was in a spiral, I think, from that. And his way out was to record, and he was just flooding, like, with music. Yeah. It was like it's like that seemed to be his work through for that, was just to keep recording and put out music because he was putting out, they said it was like an album like every 3 days or something like that. Put like 118 albums out in a single year.
Jeez. Bobby was asking if I owned a Music Man. I do. It's not from the 90s. I can't remember what year it is. Late 2000s. Music Man Access.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And these things they're getting ridiculous in value.
Yeah.
Made in the US.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of bird's eye in this one, but yeah.
How many birds died to make that? You
Not
monster.
enough, or just enough.
How many tigers died to make that top? You monster.
And yeah, it's a hardtail, and my Wolfgang is a hardtail too, which is a very rare thing to find.
Yeah, the wolf. Yeah. Mostly trem.
Which somebody was asking in your chat, I think it was in your chat last night, they were asking about these tail pieces, which I remember were available on Gibson's in the 70s briefly.
Yeah. How many quilts died to make that top?
Yeah, a very rare piece. Well, we were talking about last stainless steel frets because it's a made in Japan.
So we were talking about the other day, the new PB HP2s.
Right.
I have to say, like, new old stock on the back, I think because of a licensing thing, right? That they're not allowed to put out new guitars. It has to be sort of like new old stock or something like that. It was some bizarre thing. I was like, I had never heard of it, but the more they started talking about it, I said, oh, I wonder if it was because, you know what I'm saying? They don't want trouble with EVH. So they're not making them new. They're taking existing ones and they're just assembling them. It was like something bizarre. I was like, really? But apparently there seemed to be a thing.
Hey, Basement Guitar Superstar. Bozique says he has the hardtail Tobacco Burst Wolfgang as well. Nice.
Oh, Ian said the birds didn't die. They were just blinded.
Yes, we just removed their eyes only.
Yeah.
And sent them on their way.
You monster.
Hey, Tampa Blues. If you have any other questions or comments, get them in now. We're going to go for another 10 minutes or so, folks. Hello, Little Hooker Jam. Some people don't step into elevators if their bird's eye interior wall paint will finish. Well, okay.
Interesting. I remember the company I worked for, they were loaded. They had so much money, and they had like 5 offices, one in Cambridge, which is the one I worked at, one in Washington, D.C., one in Palo Alto, one in, I think, L.A., and I thought they had one other office. I forget now. New York, I thought. New York office. And I remember I was in the D.C. office, and they had been renovating that office for like forever, for like 2 years or something. You know, it was like this nonstop construction project, and they were finally done. And I remember we were going down there and we were helping like move people in and get them, you know, set up with computers and making sure everything worked.
Sure.
The phones was there. I was there for IT and networking, and we were getting everybody going. And as you walked in that main, like, first hall that you walked down, that whole friggin' wall it was like this enormous piece of bird's eye maple. And I was like, oh my God. It was like like a mural. And it felt like it was one piece. Like they almost like, it was probably a veneer. Like they rolled a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Sort of shaved the bird's eye off of it, you know, and put it out. It was like, I was like, oh my, look at this stupid thing. And I said, I remember walking in and looking at that panel, and I said, I'll bet that panel was like 5 years of my salary.
Yeah.
You know, I found out that the guy's desk in one of the rooms that I was working on was 1 year of my salary. Just this desk cost that. Wow. Forget about the stupid wall thing. Yeah, he had a bookcase, okay? This is when you know you got too much money, all right? He had a bookcase that the shelves were at an angle, and the whole bookcase tilted to the side, and under one side was this big, almost looked like it was a rolling pin, like a dowel, that would tilt it to one side, and then the shelves were level. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that bookcase was like $35,000.
Crazy. Let's see. I got a couple things here to wrap up. DMAC, just wondering about the nice drive, eh? Okay. Is it like a clean boost, transparent overdrive, hybrid, or doing something different? It is basically a Class A amp on 10 in a pedal. But it's 4 knobs, so you can make it a clean boost if you want. It has your level, gain, bass, and treble. And I could probably put a link to it in the chat because I don't think any of my mods have that link, because I don't know if it's a public link on the LPD website or not, because Lawrence doesn't fill me in on such things. Somebody was asking thoughts on the Neural DSP, Steve.
I haven't had a chance to play one. Neural DSP, though, does make pretty good software that I've fooled around with some of the demos. I never had a full version, though. But the demos are fully workable. They just expire after, I think, like 8 days or 14 days or something like that. But, yeah, Neural DSP is nice stuff, from what I can hear. I wouldn't mind trying one out. Someone offered to send me theirs to try out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, man, I would love it if I could send you, my Neural DSP, and you could like make some patches, and then you'd get to try one out, and I would get some cool patches. And my only problem with that is just like, I'd hate for anything to happen to it. I don't like to take other people's gear here to like use it. If I don't, especially when I don't really know them.
Sure.
And so, I can't do it. What if it got damaged in any way? Even if it was damaged in shipping, the whole thing wouldn't be worth it. Now you got a nightmare of something broken or lost or something like that. It's like, I just always worry about that stuff.
Sure. Fretlin Midnight says he likes his Master 8 picks he got from the Tesi Switch website, which I hope you use the coupon code Canucks. Save 15%. Just saying.
Are you
have it there for the tracking?
With the Tesi people? Are you involved with the Tesi people somehow?
I am a Tesi Switch artist, Steve.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, well, it's not all just shaking babies and kissing hands.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yep. So, hooked up with Rob a couple of years ago. Have a Tesi Switch in my signature guitar, and he sells much more than just switches. And I believe you got a Tesi Switch not too long ago.
I did. Unfortunately, I was going to put it, I thought it was going to be a direct replacement into my Kramer, but it wasn't. It was a touch too big, and I did not want to bore out the holes because it's a 1983 Kramer Pacer, and I just think that's not the ideal can. I'll do it in a more modern guitar. I can put it in. So I'm saving it for something else. I wound up not using it in the Kramer.
Nice. And thanks,
I'll figure out a place to put it, though.
Right, it makes good stuff. And as well as he carries Keeley pedals, Earthquaker pedals, and parts, and picks, and strings, and all kinds of stuff. Helix knobs. Can't forget the Helix knobs. And he was on last week. Yes, the 10 millimeter Tesi Switch drops right into a pot opening.
Yeah, mine did not work in the pot opening for my Kramer. It would have to be bored out a little bit. It did not. And I got the smallest one. I got the one that they said, no mods required. Pops right into a pothole. But it didn't. On this one, it was a pretty small shaft pot, and no go. It did not fit. It would probably have to be at least like, a 0.5 millimeter enlarged.
Right.
Not much, but just enough. Right? Just didn't quite fit. And I didn't want to push it.
Sure. Brad Guitar Miller saw Rob playing live on Friday night. That's right. Rob plays in a Kid Rock tribute act.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kid Kentucky, I think, is the name of the outfit.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. He was playing one of those new FU Tone guitars. I don't know if you've seen those, Steve.
I have not.
It's all the FU Tone goodies in their own guitar. So go figure.
All right,
Really
tuners
nice
and bridges and tailpieces and stuff.
Yeah, it's a FU Tone FU2 bridge, big brass block, titanium insert on the saddles, of course.
Right.
Noiseless springs, all that stuff. Yeah. I think it does have a kill switch, but it's not a Tesi switch, and it's an inferior kill switch. Just
of course. Just go Tesi.
It's plastic. You don't want plastic.
Yeah.
You're just going to be poking it through your guitar at some point.
Exactly.
Nice.
What's weird is that the Tesi switch is off, right? I think when you press it down, it turns it on. And I think what you're supposed to do is run it to ground, right?
Yeah, I just run the 2 leads across my output jack.
Right.
So as soon as you engage it, cuts your signal. I don't use a latching one because I just want the momentary.
Right.
People ask, what's the main reason for a kill switch in a guitar? I'm like, to annoy bandmates. That's why.
Right. Well, they make one that it's connected until you press down, and that breaks it. The problem is that you risk that when you take your finger off, it doesn't make the connection again.
Right.
When you make the connection and the connection breaks the signal. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of a weird thing where making the connection actually breaks the signal.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be safer.
Yeah, because it just grounds itself out.
Right, because it just grounds itself out, exactly.
Yeah, I remember texting Rob. I'm like, how do you do this again? He goes, it's 2 wires.
Yeah.
Like, right.
Doesn't
matter. No, it's 2 wires. I'm like, yeah, really. It's just a signal interrupter, or completer. So, yeah. Magic Man says, I have an orange rocker verb. Why not pair it with a proper compressor? Why not? Sure.
Yeah, Ron has it right. 1 to hot and 1 to ground.
Yep. Yeah, I remember he sent me some instructions, like you could do it across the volume pod or something like that. And I'm just like, well, if I need a hot and a ground, there's a hot and a ground on the output jack. And then he's like, yeah, a lot of people do that. I was like, well, that makes sense to me.
Right.
And because they're pre-wired, he gives you lots of lead length. So. Metalhead Hippie will wrap up with his question. Are either of us going to review the Headrush MX5?
I'd love to. Reach out to me, Headrush, but I have not heard from them. I get crickets.
We'll both do it. Yeah.
I'd do it.
More than happy, Headrush. And there we go. T. Woodford just released a video 20 minutes ago on a headstock repair. Hey! On an SG. Nice.
There you go.
Less to work with. And I did see earlier someone said I'd like to see him do a headstock repair on a wizard neck.
Yeah, that'd be a little tricky.
Yeah.
Although he probably could pull it off. If anyone could, that dude could.
Yeah.
But, a lot of his headstock repairs are on necks that are black or they're darker colors, so that when he does the repair work, you don't really see it because it gets covered up with his final finish work. Yeah. Wouldn't be able to do that on the Ibanez. It'll all be hanging right out there to see.
Then you'd almost want to do, if you're going to put the inlays in, do it in a walnut or something, like make it different.
Well, some would say the whole point of having a detachable neck is so when the headstock breaks, you just replace the neck. You don't repair it.
Hey, Leo thought that just for
right. That right. Leo's whole point was to have a guitar that the parts were easily swapped.
Yeah, the body's the important. Who cares about the neck on a guitar? It's the body.
Yeah.
Okay, Leo. Well, there we are. Well, on that note, Steve, any parting words, my friend, as we wrap up this awesome Sunday night hang?
Have a good time all the time. I
can definitely agree to that. I think that's a great idea. And folks, while I think of it, remember, tune in tomorrow night. I have a special co-host, Pete Thorne, joining me for a live Q&A, assuming his flight back from Florida gets back in time, because he was live from the airport today and it kept getting delayed and delayed.
Uh-oh.
So we shall see on that. Hold the line, Steve, as I'll wrap things up here. As always, folks, hold those doors open. Let that lady in ahead of you in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you. Why? Doug's wife is real. I know. I spent 2 weeks in a trailer with her.
And made it out alive.
Yep. So happy toad chasing. Be good to each other. And, of course, don't let her.